The dark truth of Pegasos Clinic. Maureen Sillah was an ordinary Irish woman, known to her family and friends as a kind, cheerful presence. She carried herself as someone strong, always smiling, always putting on a brave face even when times were hard. To those who knew her, she seemed like the person who could weather any storm. But what no one truly saw was the silent battle she had been fighting for years, a battle that left no visible scars but slowly ate away at her from within. She had suffered great losses. Two of her sisters had passed away, and their deaths left a mark on her heart that never healed. After their passing, she seemed quieter, more withdrawn. She would laugh and talk as if nothing was wrong, but the emptiness inside grew deeper with every passing day. Depression, loneliness, and despair became her silent companions. She wanted to find reasons to keep going. She wanted to fight, but more often than not, she found herself sinking. Still, around her family, she wore the mask of strength. She didn't want to burden them with her pain. She kept up appearances, making everyone believe that she was fine. But within, a decision had already begun to take root. It was a decision that would shock those who loved her most, a decision that would leave them broken and searching for answers. Maureen had decided she would no longer go on. She would end her own life. Europe, there are clinics and organizations that allow people to choose death legally under certain conditions. These places provide what is called assisted suicide, a path that is meant to honor the autonomy of the individual but is constantly debated for its moral and ethical implications. Maureen found one such place, the Pegasos Clinic in Switzerland. The clinic had been helping people since its establishment, but it had faced controversy for its methods and the kind of cases it accepted. She told her family that she was going on a trip to Lithuania. It seemed like a harmless journey, nothing unusual. But the truth was, she had bought a ticket to Switzerland. She knew that if she told her family the real reason, they would try to stop her. She knew they would beg her to stay alive, plead with her to fight. And she also knew she wasn't ready to hear those pleas, so she kept her plan hidden. On July 8th, she arrived in Switzerland. Her heart was heavy, but her face carried a calmness that no one could understand. She knew this would be her last journey. At the Pegasos Clinic, she was greeted by the staff. They took her through the paperwork, asked her questions, performed evaluations, and finally prepared her for what she had come there for. It was all done quickly, in a way that seemed almost routine to them. But for Maureen, every step brought her closer to the end she had chosen. Back in Ireland, her daughter Megan received a message from a friend. The words froze her blood. "Your mother is in Switzerland and she is planning to end her life." Megan's hands shook as she read it. She tried calling her mother again and again, sent her desperate texts, but there was no response. The silence only made her fear worse. The next day her phone lit up again. This time the message came directly from Pegasos. It was short, almost cold. "Your mother ended her life today. Her ashes will be sent to you in the coming weeks." Megan dropped her phone. She couldn't believe what she was reading. Her mother was gone, and this news, this life-shattering news, had arrived through a WhatsApp message, as if it were just a simple notification. The grief was crushing, but alongside it came anger and disbelief. How could a clinic facilitate something so final without even contacting the family? How could they allow a woman, vulnerable and broken, to make such a decision without ensuring she had truly been given every chance to live? Her brother Philip, a solicitor in the UK, stepped in. He demanded answers, demanding a formal inquiry. He believed that Maureen had been failed, not just by the system, but by the very people who should have tried harder to protect her. Pegasos, however, claimed otherwise. They said Maureen had been of sound mind, that she had made her decision clearly and independently. They argued that they had respected her right to choose, her autonomy, her dignity. For them, it was not about ending a life but about honoring the freedom of an individual to decide their own fate. The days that followed were a blur for Maureen's family. Megan couldn't stop replaying the last moments she had shared with her mother. Every phone call, every smile, every word suddenly took on a new weight. Was her mother trying to say goodbye without saying it out loud? Had she missed the signs? Guilt became her constant shadow. She remembered how strong her mother had seemed, how she had laughed just a week before leaving. Could that laughter have been a mask, a way to hide the storm raging inside her? Philip, meanwhile, began his own investigation. As a solicitor, he knew how to dig into legal procedures, and what he discovered left him shaken. The Pegasos Clinic, he learned, had gained a reputation for taking on cases that other organizations might decline. They advertised themselves as a place that honored autonomy above all else. For them, if an individual insisted they wanted to die, they would find a way to make it happen, as long as it was not done for selfish reasons like financial gain. But to Philip, this sounded dangerously close to negligence. He obtained the documents Maureen had signed. Among them was a consent form, typed and signed by her, declaring that she wanted to end her life. There was also a psychiatric evaluation done in Switzerland, a short interview, barely enough, Philip thought, to truly understand someone's mental state. He compared it to what he knew of his sister. This wasn't a terminal illness case. Maureen wasn't battling a disease that was eating away at her body. She was battling something even harder to diagnose: despair. And he couldn't shake the thought that, given the right help, the right therapy, maybe she could have found a way back. For the rest of the family, the questions were endless. Megan wondered why her mother hadn't confided in her. Was she so afraid of being stopped? Or did she truly believe no one could save her from the pain she carried? The anger at Pegasos grew stronger with each passing day. It wasn't just about losing Maureen, it was about the way it had happened. The WhatsApp message, the cold efficiency, the promise to deliver her ashes by post as if she were nothing more than a parcel. To the family, it felt cruel and inhuman. In Switzerland, Pegasos maintained its stance. The clinic's spokesperson explained that they had followed the law to the letter. Assisted suicide in Switzerland had been legal for decades, and their role was to provide a safe, controlled environment for those who wished to die. They argued that Maureen had shown clarity, that she was consistent in her wish to end her life, and that their duty was to respect that choice. "We do not kill," the spokesperson said. "We simply give people the means to act on their decision." But the controversy deepened as the story reached the media. Newspapers in Ireland and the UK picked it up. Headlines painted a chilling picture: a mother secretly traveling abroad to die, a daughter finding out through a text message, a clinic accused of fast-tracking people toward death. The case ignited debates about assisted suicide across Europe. Should mental illness be grounds for assisted dying? Where does personal freedom end and institutional responsibility begin? For Megan, the debates meant little. She wasn't interested in politics or philosophy. She just wanted her mother back. She wanted answers that could soothe the ache in her chest, though she knew none would. Her nights were restless. Sometimes she dreamed of her mother calling out. Sometimes she woke up believing she still had time to stop her. And then the cold reality would set in. When the ashes finally arrived weeks later, packed neatly in a container, Megan broke down completely. She held them in her hands, feeling the unbearable weight of what was left of her mother. This was all Pegasos had promised, and they had kept their word. But what about the promises of family, of love, of protection? Those promises had been broken the moment Maureen boarded that plane alone. The family held a quiet memorial. Friends gathered, many of them shocked by the way it had all unfolded. Some defended Maureen's right to choose, saying perhaps she had found peace. Others were horrified, insisting that she should have been helped, not handed a final dose of medication. The divide mirrored the larger debate now unfolding in public. Philip continued to push for accountability. He wrote to the Foreign Office, demanding an inquiry into Pegasos. He argued that their procedures were flawed, that they were making it too easy for vulnerable people to die without their families ever knowing. Whether his calls would lead to real change remained uncertain, but he refused to let the matter rest. To him, this wasn't just about Maureen. It was about preventing another family from going through the same nightmare. As weeks turned into months, the raw pain dulled slightly, but the wound never closed. Megan found herself replaying her mother's voice in her head, her laughter, her advice, the way she used to hug her tightly. She wanted to believe her mother had found the peace she craved. but deep down, she also wished she could have been given one more chance to save her. The story of Maureen Sillah did not end with her death. It lived on in the questions it left behind. Was this truly what she wanted? Or was it the desperate act of a woman who had lost her way? Did Pegasos honor her choice, or did they exploit her vulnerability? And perhaps the hardest question of all, how do you grieve when the person you love chose to leave you behind? Ocean. For Maureen, the decision was final. For her family, the story is endless. Every day they live with the echoes of that choice, caught between anger and sorrow, between respect for her autonomy and the aching wish that she had chosen life instead.